Hey, what's going on, everyone? Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to explain behind the title of this video because it's going to say something about either STL or Small Town Legends Episode 1, something like that, And essentially, I wanted to start a brand new series for you guys. I had this idea the other day where I go and I find urban legends, mysteries, stuff like that from like small towns, from really small cities, stuff that you might not have actually like heard about before, stuff that isn't very common in like those top 5 videos, top 5 craziest things from the state of Louisiana, Nebraska, California, something like that. So that's all that this series is, and I'm really looking forward to this series because I think it could really take off, be something really special. So in this very first episode today, we're going to be talking about the Yucca Man. And the Yucca Man is very close to me because it revolves around the area that I actually live in right now. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, a lot of you guys may be asking, what is the Yucca Man? Well, the Yucca Man is essentially the Sasquatch, or the Bigfoot of this area I live in, the 29 Palms, Joshua Tree, Yucca Valley area of the high desert here in Southern California. And most of the stories that have to do with this Yucca Man creature all have to do with the marine base, the very big marine base that is near where I live, and that's where a lot of the tales come from. However, yes, there are others from around the area, whether it's Joshua Tree National Park is a very popular high tourism area, and so there's been a lot of sightings around there. Now, there are several versions of the very first sighting of the Yucca Man. The basis of it always has to do with a guard out on guard duty late at night. So one of them is one day, really late at night, there is a officer out on duty at a far corner of the base when he suddenly starts to hear this awful noise, this noise that isn't very common for the area. So he starts to ask, who's there, reveal yourself, and there is no answer. So he grabs his weapon and he walks out into the darkness, and he starts to hear this growling noise, and he starts to realize that this growling noise is like, it'll be off to the left, and then I know it's to his right, and then it's ahead of him, and it's basically circling around him, but he can't see anything. However, he can smell this unearthly stench, this disgusting smell, when suddenly from the darkness he sees this giant man-like figure, and out, next thing you know, he's unconscious. Essentially, the Yucca Man knocks him out, and he's always found by the changing shift. The next guard out on patrol will find him unconscious with his weapon to his side. However, there are some different versions of this first sighting. For instance, sometimes, well, the beginning of the story, everything I just told you, will be exactly the same, except sometimes when the Marine is found unconscious, he'll be seen with his weapon on his side, or at his side, completely bent, like at a 90-degree angle. And he also, before being knocked out, will say that all he saw was this giant man, and then he saw his eyes glowing red, like red coals, basically. And then another version of the story has nothing to do with a guard out on duty. However, it has to do with a soldier who's actually at a rifle range, or a rifle range, all on his own, getting some practice in, I suppose, or something. And it goes the same. It's where he starts hearing this noise. He goes to investigate. He sees a giant figure. He looks into his eyes and sees a deep red burning, and then he gets attacked. He's unconscious, and when he's found by someone, because he hasn't reported he's gone missing, they find him unconscious with his weapon completely bent up and mangled, and the only thing he remembers is seeing this giant creature. a lot of the reports that deal with the Yucca Man and his description always seem to go exactly the same way, where his hair, his fur is the color of the sand because he blends in with the dirt out here in the desert. He's always approximately 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall, very tall person, covered in hair. There's always this disgusting stench, which is why he's related to Bigfoot or the Sasquatch, because that always goes with that story as well, of the disgusting smells. So all of his stories always seem to be exactly the same, which just leads to both the argument that he is real because all of these descriptions are exactly the same, but you could also make the argument that, oh, everyone's just copying what they're hearing and that's why they're all the exact same description. So it's really up to what you believe. If you believe in Sasquatches, then you might believe in the Yucca Man. If you think it's all a bunch of bull, then you obviously are not going to believe in him. But it's all up to you and your interpretation, basically. The sightings of the Yucca Man started right after the base expanded its perimeter around the 1960s, 1970s, when they expanded upon the original base's World War II perimeter and stuff like that. The Yucca Man also goes by a few other names, such as the Mojave Bigfoot, Marvin of the Mojave, the Sierra Highway Devil. So he has quite a few names, so maybe some people will know him by that name, but it's all the same guy, basically. And well, that's basically it for today's STL, small town legend story for today, the Yucca Man. I've personally never had an experience with this creature, even though I've lived out here for a few years. But, you know, if you've had an experience with it, you know, let me know. If you have a small town legend from your area, make sure to tell me about it. Whether it's something spooky, something interesting, something that isn't very well explained. And I will be sure to cover it without any issue. The next episode I already have planned out, however, because I'm going to be talking about the legend from where I used to live. And if you're from Grand Island, Nebraska, shout out. You'll already know a lot about this urban legend called the Witch's Bridge. So that's just a little bit of a teaser for all of you guys. If you know anything about that, I'm really excited for this series. Give it all the support you can. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share your stories down in the comments. You know. With that being said, it's your boy. Peace.